So, Sean, I want to chat about Roth conversions for a moment because a recent survey by Fidelity found that 72% of current retirees wish they had opened a Roth IRA earlier in their careers. They said they miss the tax-free growth and withdrawals. So if we want to learn a lesson from that, we talk about the traditional IRA to Roth conversion. So, Sean, can you talk to us about how difficult it is to do and what the benefits are here?
Yeah, in fact, it could be a huge strategy. You know, the families I work for, they continually hear me say over and over, taxes, taxes, taxes. And here we go again. Tax strategies are going to be dependent on the income plan. Again, one piece of the puzzle is always affecting another piece. Mm-hmm. As I've said before, we all have that common goal of getting as many spendable dollars out of our resources as possible and then passing the most spendable dollars to the people who we care about and them not going to the government in taxes. Taxes are the biggest erosion factor of spendable dollars. Roth conversions can be an extremely beneficial tax mitigation strategy, but they can also be detrimental to the overall plan. Again, I can't say it enough. One piece of the puzzle is always affecting another piece, and you can't necessarily rely on common sense. So many people say, hey, you know, I'm younger, so I have plenty of time, so Roth conversions are good for me right now. Or sometimes people say, look, my income is really high and I'm going to retire in 3 years, and so I'm going to start Roth conversions after I retire. You can't rely on common sense. It's typically not going to work out that way. A Roth conversion is the moving or the transferring of pre-tax dollars that are in your 401k, your 403b, your traditional IRAs, moving those dollars over to a Roth IRA. The dollars that you put in your 401k, you did not pay taxes on. And the dollars that you put into a Roth, you have to pay taxes on those. So during that transfer, you're going to have to pay the taxes on the dollar, the value amount that is transferred. That's the negative part. And we're doing that for the benefit of tax-free growth because we'll never pay any taxes on withdrawals that we take out of the Roth. And so what are some of the reasons why you might consider a Roth conversion for yourself? One of them, and a big one, is RMDs. RMDs can create a domino effect causing significant tax burden. RMDs are when the government says, look, you were able to put the money into your 401k, you never paid any taxes, and now we want our money. We're going to force you to start pulling money out of that account so that you have to pay taxes on it and we can get our money. Well, pulling money out of that account, being forced to take those required minimum distributions, means an increase in your income, which again could cause significant tax burden, increasing the brackets that you pay taxes on, increasing the Medicare cost that you're going to experience. Those are just a couple of the tax burden areas that might come. We also have what's called a widow tax penalty. And that means when one of us pass away, so two spouses, one of us pass away, now all of a sudden the survivor is in a different tax bracket because now they're forced to file as single instead of what they're used to, married filing joint. That's going to be a significant change in tax ramifications. There's also what's called legislative risk. The money that you have in a position that's taxable, money that's coming out of your 401k or IRAs, money that's in a pension, those dollars are subject to income tax, ordinary income tax. And just imagine if all of your money is subject to that, or the majority of your money is subject to that ordinary income tax. Any legislative changes, you know, the tax code we all understand is written in pencil. And every time there's an administration change, they take the eraser, erase it, and then they rewrite it. Well, what happens if in the future, and more than likely they will because taxes are so low at this point, what happens if they rewrite that code and taxes are 10, 15, 20% higher than they are now? What do you think happens to your lifestyle? It's significantly affected because those spendable dollars that we talk about are being eroded by that additional tax liability. Income planning. Look, imagine if you had what we call tax diversification. Often When I talk to people about diversification, they think I'm talking about investment diversification. Truly, tax diversification can be just as powerful. Imagine if you had money in pre-tax accounts, if you had money in Roth accounts, if you had money in taxable accounts. All of those dollars are treated differently from a tax perspective. And if you have that opportunity, you can actually determine how much each year you should pull out of those accounts and what variation you should pull the dollars out so that throughout your lifetime you mitigate taxes as much as possible. And we see mitigating taxes six figures, sometimes multiple six figures. And if you save $300,000 in taxation over your lifetime, what are you going to do with that $300,000? You're going to spend it, or it's going to go to who you care about as opposed to the government. You also want to think about Roth conversions in terms of legacy. Because when we pass away, typically our children are of what age? They're of the age to where they're earning more money than they've ever made in their life, and that's the most money they're going to make in their life. And when we pass the IRA to them, they inherit it, they're going to have to start taking withdrawals, and they're going to have to completely withdraw that money within 10 years. Which means those dollars are going to fall into the highest tax brackets. Their income is filling up the smaller tax brackets. Now our dollars have to come out and they fall into the highest tax brackets. And often we're losing 40%. And that's not what we signed up for. We did not want our resources to go to the government like that. If you have your money in a Roth and your causes or your children inherit the Roth money, yeah, they're still forced to take it out over 10 years, but they don't have to worry about what tax bracket those monies are going to come out in. They can actually wait till the 10th year. That means those monies can grow an additional 10 years tax-free. Wow, what a change that is. It's an extraordinary strategy. But I will say, I will not recommend a Roth conversion for anybody without having a comprehensive financial plan that can be used as the platform to calculate the various strategies. There are too many pieces of the puzzle that can be affected by Roth conversions that they can actually have a negative effect on your whole retirement plan.
Yes, clearly there are a lot of factors to take into consideration when it comes to a Roth conversion. So we just want to stress that it's not a DIY project. Incorporating the help of a professional is the key here. So for our listeners, if you're wondering whether this kind of move is right for you, Sean and his team are here to help you analyze your specific situation and help you weigh out those options. An introductory retirement planning assessment with Sean is how you do it. And we are giving those out to our first 5 callers today. 559-847-0039 is the number to dial. No obligation, no pressure, no judgment. That number, 559-847-0039. Or we are online at masonstreetwealthmanagement.com. All right, Sean, you know the things that we will do to save a few cents. Well, comedian Greg Warren says his dad is a loyal St. Louis Cardinals fan who loves a promotion that takes 20 cents off of his convenience store coffee if and only if the team scores 6 runs or more. Please take a listen to this.
We're watching the game one time, and it's late in the game. The Cardinals they're winning like 5-0, and basically they had the game won. But he's locked in because he hadn't gotten his coffee yet. And our best hitter came up, and he grounded into a double play to end the inning. And my dad looked at me and goes, "Seems kind of fishy, huh?" Yeah, they're point shaving, Dad. They're point shaving. Yeah, the Cardinals are in collusion with Mobile on the Run, so you don't save 20 cents on your coffee tomorrow. Like, I would call the FBI, Dad. This has got to go to the top. This is important.
I'm sure you see it a lot, Sean. Retirees who have an excellent retirement plan, yet will not spend the money that they've saved over a lifetime. So how do you get them to loosen up? What's your approach here?
Well, that was hilarious. And I'm in for saving every 20 cents on a cup
real
of coffee.
Money.
Absolutely. Every dollar matters. But look, fear is the root of most evil, especially when it comes to financial and retirement planning. Many of the families that come to me were experiencing, at least on some level, fear-mongering from their previous advisor. So many advisors continue to suggest to people that they shouldn't spend their money, that they shouldn't be taking withdrawals. I think that's just not true. Many suffer, though, from the Great Depression stories they heard from their grandparents, and I get that a lot. Regardless of what the cause, fear can be a lifestyle obstacle for sure. It can also create conflict between spouses. We've been working with Ray and Charlene for many years. Ray originally came to me on his own, actually, separate from Charlene, to address his concerns about Charlene's fear of spending. He believed it would cause detrimental harm to the relationship, especially when they got into retirement. So we eventually met with both of them. Charlene agreed to go through our comprehensive planning process, and she was very transparent, and it was really interesting. We learned from Charlene that she had grown up very poor and didn't have often the essentials provided to her. And that had a very significant effect on really her whole life. And so after going through the process, Charlene getting clarity on their financial situation and not just feeling that emotion of fear, but actually seeing the true numbers and how it would affect them in the future, Charlene became confident in our risk-based income strategy. It gave them the funding they needed to reach all of their lifestyle goals, including legacy to the kids and grandkids. I got to tell you, it's an absolute joy to see them through the years in reviewing their plan. And consequently, it's worked out even better than expected. So often this fear just isn't relevant. Look, I'm not saying it's never relevant. There might be some value in a little bit of fear, but we cannot let the fear hold us back. When we have comprehensive financial planning, we now can have the confidence in a plan and in our spending so that we can live that lifestyle that we're expecting.
Well, I'm so happy for Charlene. It sounds like she's, living the retirement dream now. Your plan should really be a tool that's going to give you the freedom to do all the things that you love, but still give you that confidence that you aren't going to run out of money. And Sean and his team are here to help you understand your full financial picture so that you can spend without the worry attached to it. So if you're ready to go from being a lifelong saver to now being a confident spender in your retirement, we are here to help. 559-847-0039 is how you reach us. And our first 5 callers will receive Sean's introductory retirement planning assessment. Remember, this is just a conversation, no obligation, just a chance for you to take a look at your full picture with Sean. That number again, 559-847-0039, or you can always find us online at masonstreetwealthmanagement.com. All right, Sean, a survey of 3,000 retirees by the Employee Benefit Research Institute, which you mentioned earlier, found that younger retirees depend more on Social Security than those who are older. Those in their mid-70s say more than half of their income comes from Social Security, but for those in their early 60s, that number is much higher at 67%. So wanted to get your thoughts on this, Sean. With its upcoming solvency problems, do you want your clients to depend less on Social Security? And if so, how do you do it?
Well, yeah, it's such an important factor and a big piece of the puzzle. And yeah, the Employee Benefit Research Institute, they really provide a lot of good information. Social Security for most people is such a large resource for income and retirement, and it's really important for people to recognize that and plan strategy that uses those benefits to their greatest advantage. When it comes to the reliance on Social Security, we have to be aware that it's just another one of those many retirement risks. And with all risk, you have to understand within your own situation what the consequence of a reduction would have on your lifestyle. And then understanding the consequences, you've got to determine if you want to shoulder that risk or implement a strategy to mitigate those consequences in the event that they do reduce your Social Security benefit. So the solution is, as it usually is, having a comprehensive financial plan allows you to stress test and determine the strategies that can be utilized if you find yourself not being willing to shoulder those or to come to terms with experiencing those consequences. When I met with Brad and Mary, they actually came in and they expressed their concerns of just this. They expressed their concerns of Social Security sustainability, as Brad put it, and they were actually convinced it would fail. And so after going through a comprehensive planning process, we decided to allocate a portion of their portfolio in a structure that would guarantee the replacement of their benefits. That gave them the confidence and peace of mind they were hoping for. That put them in a position they didn't ever talk about. To this day, they still haven't talked about what if Social Security is reduced. They don't worry about it anymore. They know that if it's reduced, they've got a plan in place. They're not going to suffer the consequences because of it.
Social Security, it is an integral part of a retirement plan, but it's not the only part. And Sean and his team, sounds like they work with their clients to develop these strategies to supplement that income. The goal is to help ensure that your retirement is secure, regardless of what happens in Washington. So if you are concerned about your dependence on Social Security, Sean and his team are here to help you. Our first 5 callers today at 559-847-0039 will receive an introductory retirement planning assessment with Sean. And I've just got to emphasize again, this is no strings attached. This is just a conversation. That number again, 559-847-0039 or online at masonstreetwealthmanagement.com. Sean, thank you so much for sharing your incredible insight with us today. That is going to do it for this week's episode of Mason Street Retirement Insights, but we will see you back here next week, same time, same place, for more conversation and advice from our resident finance man, Sean Mason of Mason Street Wealth Management. And with that, Sean, I will give you the last word.
Casey, that was a lot of fun. I'm really excited about this show. Can't wait till next week to get with the community. I want you to know that I care about your success. My team cares about your success. And through the years, we understand clearly how important planning is, and we're very passionate about that. I want you to come in, have a conversation with us. Let's discuss your current situation, and we'll help you determine what level of planning your situation deserves. But until then, have a great day, have a great rest of the weekend, and we'll catch you next week.
Mason Street Wealth Management, MSWM, is a registered investment advisor, and the opinions expressed by MSWM on this show are their own and do not reflect the opinions of Motivate Investments. Registration is not an endorsement by securities regulators. Investment advisory services are offered through Motivate Investments, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. All statements and opinions expressed are based upon information considered reliable, although it should not be relied upon as such. Any statements or opinions are subject to change without notice. The information presented is for educational purposes only and does not intend to make an offer or solicitation for the sale or purchase of any specific securities, investments, or investment strategies. Investments involve risk and, unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Information expressed does not take into account your specific situation or objectives and is not intended as recommendations appropriate for any individual. Listeners are encouraged to seek advice from a qualified tax, legal, or investment advisor to determine whether any information presented may be suitable for their specific situation. Past performance is not indicative of future performance. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities, offered through Sean A. Mason, California, insurance license number 0B54860. The firms are separate entities. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company and are not offered by Motivate Investments. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. MSWM is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if MSWM is licensed in your state, please call 559-892-0002.